So today I'm off for a run up to Old Winchester Hill, which is about 25 kilometres, and I think you'll be very surprised what we find in the woods. So I've finally arrived in the chapel. I'm in the middle of nowhere, in amongst the trees and the South Downs hills. So as a funeral director, one of the most common questions I get asked about is natural burial. So today I thought it'd be interesting to show you around the South Downs burial site here in Petersfield. And as you can probably see, the chapel has no sides to it, so in the winter time it gets very cold, and that's the reason why the fire is lit here, to keep mourners warm during the service. Yeah, again, when you come into the winter months here, it is advisable to wear appropriate shoes. So ideally, welly boots or boots of some nature that will keep out the cold and, more importantly, the wet. The last service that I did here, we had over 40 people attending the service. We had a celebrant taking the service for them, which lasted about 20 minutes or so. And then from there, we transport the coffin onto a wheeled bier, and we take the coffin down to the burial site. It is quite a trek. There is no vehicular access, although the centre do lay on 4x4 vehicles for those that are unable to make the journey. So I think now's a good time to take you down to the burial site. So eventually I've arrived in the actual burial site. It's about 500 metres from the chapel down to here. In front of me there are two graves, fairly recent. You can see from the mound of earth here that the grave is beginning to settle, and the other one has already settled. There are 2,400 interments here in this burial site, and the graves are marked by a tree, as you can see. So I'm standing next to one of the newly planted trees here to mark the grave, and in keeping with the ethics of the burial site here, each grave is prepared by the grave diggers by hand. So what's interesting to me here is obviously we're in this beautiful setting with 2,500 people interred here. And so in my previous video about the lunatic asylum cemetery in Knoll, Fareham, that site's only 2 acres, and yet they've over 5,500 interments there. So a big difference. Here, beautiful setting. You can obviously purchase bird boxes and benches with plaques on. I think what you need to do is visualise these graves once the trees have matured and the ground has had a chance to establish over the graves. Wooden burials in their own right are a good concept. The problem is, though, there are some quite strict restrictions about what you can and can't do. So things like you can't be embalmed because obviously the chemicals go into the ground. There are restrictions regarding the coffin. So things like it needs to be natural wood, so something of a wicker, bamboo, seagrass construction, shrouds and body bags if that's what you prefer to use, which is quite unusual. Of course, you can always look at the option of a burial in your own garden, which is a very unique concept. Again, that does come with some restrictions. Things to think about would be things like contacting your local council, involving the environmental health to ensure that they're involved through the whole process, making sure that the mortgage company, if the house has a mortgage on it, is informed and they're happy with what you propose to do. And of course, any kind of burial would need to be registered within the deeds of the property. Downsides to that kind of interment would be things like, would you be moving anytime soon? Would people be wanting to buy a property with a body buried in the back garden? I'm not necessarily sure people would, but it is an option and it is available if people want it. Thank you for watching. If you'd like any more information about natural burials, please contact me. If not, I'll see you on the next one.